Okay, hey guys. So in this video, I'm going to talk about my glimpse of hope for you. Um, that Weber, this isn't exactly a connection he made, but it's going to give me a chance to talk about the Protestant ethic and the spirit of capitalism, which I thought for a second I'd spelled wrong, but it looks good. Protestant ethic and the spirit of capitalism is a part of Weber's bigger work on the history of religion, where he's looking for, he's trying to understand why capitalism starts in Europe rather than starting in India or in China. And he works out this system that I'll very briefly describe to you. First of all, he's not talking about the structure of capitalism, okay? He's not talking about those social relations that Marx is talking about. He's not even talking about exploitation. What he's talking about is this idea of the spirit of capitalism is the idea that I work hard, I make a profit, I reinvest that profit, rather than just enjoying the fruits of my business. That's the spirit of capitalism. And Weber says that this comes out of a specific branch of Protestantism called Calvinism. In Calvinism, one of their core beliefs is that God has already picked who's going to heaven, and it's not everybody. And furthermore, there's nothing you can do to know if you're going to heaven. I mean, it's kind of personally, to me, a terrifying worldview. But what they say is that God kind of tips his hat to some people. If you are one of those people who is going to be going to heaven, one of the ways that you might be able to tell is if you are successful in your life. If you end up, kind of living a virtuous life that also includes kind of financial rewards. So, and why that makes sense, I have no idea. But I mean, Weber's a historian. He's just studying what actually happened. And what he finds is that the capitalism tends to thrive in places with Calvinist populations. And the connection he makes is this. So that idea of live a virtuous life, work hard. If I am successful, it might be a sign that I'm going to heaven, but I can't then go about enjoying the fruits of my labor. I have got to continue to live a virtuous life and do good things. That's perfect for capitalism. If you want to have a business that's going to grow, what you need to do is work really hard, be successful, and then take the rewards of it and reinvest it. That is your 3-minute summary of the Protestant ethic and the spirit of capitalism. Okay, and it's a really important book in the history of sociology. It's up there with Durkheim's The Elementary Forms of Religious Life and Suicide, Marx's Capital. This is a big deal book. And it's compared to Durkheim, it's super easy to read too. So if you're ever in a graduate level theory class and they say you got to read the Protestant ethic and the spirit of capitalism, it's not a bad thing to have to do. Durkheim's brutal. So anyway, this is the point about this. What Weber found here, and because remember that Weber doesn't think that there are laws of society. What he says is that in a particular situation, some causal agent will influence something else to happen. In this case, what's happening is ideas, Calvinist ideas, change the way the economy works. Now, Weber wouldn't say that ideas always change the economy. What he would say is in this situation, because of this particular set of ideas and a population that was moving in the way of free enterprise, that these two things work together to create the capitalism that we know. Great. But for our perspective, when we're thinking about how hopeless Weber is, it strikes me that it doesn't just have to be a charismatic leader or a capitalist who's willing to structure his or her business in a specific way. This idea of ideas changing the world is a really important one to hold on to. I'm not saying that we are just going to abandon our pursuit of efficiency, but the idea that if you have compelling ideas, that they can lead to a change in the world, a change for people's the lived experience that people have. That's a really significant thing to notice. Again, it doesn't happen inevitably. Uh, Weber would at least say that it doesn't happen inevitably. But in my Intro to Sociology course, for those of you who've taken it, I end the semester talking about social change. And I talk about, I use the example of the beginning of the LGBT movement with the Stonewall Riot. The Stonewall Riot begins when a transgender woman says, I'm not going to be hassled by the cops anymore. And that idea that she espoused of I deserve to have just because I am different than a cisgendered person, the that I still have the right to be treated the same way as everybody else is an idea that other people then look at and process and make a decision that maybe I will consider living by that. Now, it doesn't happen overnight, and as Weber would say, and as I stress to my intro students, it doesn't happen inevitably. It's not like you can just stand up and say, treat everybody right, and then everybody celebrates you. Sometimes people get killed for doing that. But the possibility that ideas can change the world is one that we don't want to let go of. Weber isn't holding out hope for it. I personally do, and I think it's going to be one of the main things that we're going to take away from Weber for our understanding of society in a general way, which is the concluding video that we will watch next. All right, thanks, guys.